Welcome to MacroCode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we are going to proceed with our students management system in Blazor. So for those who have been following this channel, you remember we have been doing this video for Blazor, and today we are going to actually proceed with this application. So as you can see, we have our front office. So this is where we left on our previous video. So we have our front office module. Under this module, we actually have the complaints. So here you can actually capture complaints, and you can see we were able to add a new complaint type, the complaint source, the complainant, the phone number, the date, that is the complaint complaint date, then the notes. So you can do complaint notes. So if you save, then you're able to save those details. Then we also have under academics where you can actually capture a student. So this is actually on Blazor, and you can see we can register a student, and you can also attach a photo. So if I just add a new student, then you'll be able to have the registration number, the first name, middle name, last name, the email address, the phone number, the country, the gender, the student photo, and you can also do the date of birth. So also within students, we have parents, and you can see we have parents details. You can add a new parent. You can capture these details. We also have teachers. You can add teachers with their photos, as you can see. Then you can, if you come and add new teacher, you can capture the first name, middle name, last name, the gender, marital status, email address, and even you can upload a photo. Then you also have subjects. So you can add a new subject, can provide the subject name and the subject description. So if we click add subject, then you can see we have the subject details. Then you also have the departments. You can add departments. So here you'll see we have the departments within our application. You can add a new department. You can add the department name, and you can save it. So these are the data that you have. Then within library, you can actually capture books. As you can see, we have the books. Add new book. You indicate the number, the name of the book, the author, the number of copies, and even the book category. So if you save it, then you'll be able to see we have the book details being saved. Then when you save the book, you can actually issue a book. So you can issue a new book to a student. So you can create the date, the issue date. We have the due date, when the book is supposed to be returned. We have the class, the student that you are issuing the book type, and even the notes. Then you can actually save the details. Then you also have the return books. So you can actually return a book. And how do you do that? So under issue books, all the books that you've issued, you can click on return, and you can update the return date. So you just update the return date, and everything is okay. So then all the books that have been returned, you are able to track them here. And you can see the status of the returned books. Then you also have hostels. You can actually create a new hostel name, the address, the description, and even whether they are boys or girls hostels, or even they are combined. Then we also, within hostels, we have the hostel rooms. So this is where now you tie the rooms to hostels. You can see the room number, the cost per bed, the number of beds, the description, the room type, and the hostel name. Then we also have system settings where we are storing the grades. You can see we have the grades. You can add a new grade. You can also have the countries. You can save the countries within the application. You can also have the system codes. These are all the codes that are being tracked by the application. So under system administration, we have the system users. You can see we have the users here. You can actually change the password, view the details, and you can add a new user. So you can have the username, the first name, the middle name, last name, the photo, the gender, email address, password, and even confirm the password. So under system administration, we also have the academics. So this is where you set the academics of the, that is the academic years. So what I want us to do today, on our previous video, we captured how to do complaints. So let's just start. I think there is an issue somewhere. We'll be able to check that. So what I want us to do today is whenever we are registering complaints, you'll notice that let's just launch our app so that you see what is the challenge. So you'll notice that when you are displaying the complaints, we were displaying the numbers instead of some details. So I'm just going to log in to my app. So if you're new to this channel and you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, consider subscribing. We notice 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you don't subscribe. So as you can see under front office, we have the complaints. So under complaints, we have the complaint type, and as you can see, it is actually numbers. Then we have the status of the complaint, it is also numbers. So to do that, we are going to on our project under complaints folder, then under complaints list, I'm going to change these. Instead of complaint type, I'm going to change it to complaint type, then dot name. So we want to display the description. Then the complaint by the status, I'm going to do here status, then I'm going to do dot description as well. So this will now give me the, so if you update that change, this will now give me the details instead of numbers. So if I just go back here and check if our application has applied the changes. So as you can see, we now have the complaint type, which is the teacher complaint, transport complaint, fees complaint, and you can see our statuses are actually pending. All the statuses are pending. That means we now have the description and not the numbers. So when we are adding the complaint, let's just go to our form for adding complaints. So when you are adding the complaints, we notice that we are actually creating a new complaint and we were passing our notes. So if you come back to our complaint model, you'll notice that we don't pass we are just storing the description and we are not passing the notes. So let's just go back to our database. So if we go back to our database, our student Blazor app, then under tables, we had created some tables on our previous video. So we have the complaints and we also have the complaint notes. So if you open the complaint table, you'll notice that we have the status, the complaint, the description, which is actually the notes. But you also have the complaint notes. So these complaint notes will help us to actually follow in and see some of the action that we need to take within a complaint, whether the complaint has been resolved, whether there is a follow-up. So this is what we need to track. So on today's video, I want us to enhance our application such that whenever someone does a complaint, they can actually update a complaint. And to update, they can attach a photo, they can maybe give in a status or even do something. So what I want us to do, I want us to go and create another Razor component. So I'm going to create another Razor component here. Then you are going to call these update, you can call these complaint actions. So you can say complaint actions. So that is our complaint actions. Then when we add it, I'm going to copy our add complaint component because we are going to reuse some of the features here. So I'm going to just replace it under complaint actions, then we can be updating. So at the top, we can say this is add. So we can say add complaint action. So then we can say add new complaint action. So action maybe can be you are closing the complaint or you are doing something. But now the model that we are using here, remember on our previous video, we created a complaint notes model. So this is the model that we are using. So let's just go back to that model. And you can see we have the ID, complaint ID, the notes, the attachment, action by, and the date that it was action. So we are going to use that as the complaint note. And this complaint note, we need to ensure that we are actually using the correct things here. So one thing is on our model, we need to, you'll notice that we are only interested with, let's just go back there. So we're only interested with the notes and the attachment. So the complaint ID we already know, then all these are the person who is actually logged in. So that means we only have one field here. So I'm going to remove all of this up to here. Then we just have here complaints. So I'm going to have here, let me just also remove this. So we are going to have here, let me just do here dot. So let's go back to our, so we need here the notes. So this is the field that someone will be keying in. So we just need here the notes. So I'm going to update this to notes. And if you do that, you see our error is gone. But now I want us, instead of just doing the complaint notes, you can also indicate the status of the complaint, whether you want it to be closed. So we can actually pick in the drop down list here. So I'm going to duplicate this and go back to our complaint action. So I want us to have the status, and that means on our complaint, you can see here we are missing something here. So this one should actually update the status of that action. So what I need to do here, we need to introduce something. We can actually introduce the complaint status. So here we can introduce the complaint. So you can say action status. So you can say action status ID. And this one should be a foreign key from our system. So system code detail, and you can say this is action status. So that should be okay. So that means on our drop down, we'll be choosing the action status. We want users to, the person who is actioning the complaint type should actually indicate whether they are closing a complaint or there is something that they need to do. So you can say this is complaint status, and you can say select complaint status. Then this is okay. So to get the complaint status, so I'm going to say this is complaint status. Then I'm going to say this is complaint status. Then I'm going to remove all of this. I'm going to remove all of this. And whenever, so one thing is whenever the complaint is action, so I'm going to do, whenever you select the complaint status, I can actually update this. So I can update the complaint itself. So here I can do complaint. I can actually update. So you can actually, let's just don't update it here. I'll show you where we are going to do that. Then, so here I'll also pick this name, and you need to define it here. So this will give us now all the complaints statuses. Then the next thing is we need to, this method, create new complaint action. So you'll say create new complaint action. Then this one will be action date. So action on, and then action by. So this one is okay. Then if we do that, then we need now to add complaint note, and we supply this. So once we supply that, then our complaint will be created. But now, if we go back here, so let me just do that. This is I'm going to remove this actually. We need to get the list of complaint statuses. So this create new complaint action. We should actually have it here. So on click submit, on validate submit, then this is what needs to be activated. So here, that is okay. So what is pending? So the complaint status. So this should be complaint status. And we need to have the ID and the description. So this is the complaint status. But now I want us to, whenever you click this, I want us to introduce something on our list. So you can edit the complaint and you can actually action. So I'm going to introduce another action here on our complaints list. So I'm going to say this is action. So if you do action, then this action will actually redirect and give us the complaint ID. It will actually give us now this URL here to action the complaint. So we'll go back to complaints and pass this, but I want us to pass the ID. And here we are actually using department, but this one you can say complaint. We need to change this so that we don't get confused. So I'm going to update that. Then you can see now add complaint. But whenever we add a complaint action, we need the complaint ID. So how do you do that? So we need to pass the URL. So you see how this is being passed. So we need to pass this directory. So you do that. So that is what you need to add it in front of our action here. This is the root. So we'll do add complaint action, then ID, then int, and ensure we have our ID here. So to do that, you do this. So you have the parameter ID. Then our application will know that you're expecting a parameter ID. So if we do that, then this ID will actually resemble to, if we go back to our object, we need to assign it to complaint ID. So it'll say complaint ID is equals to the ID that we've just applied. So that will now allow us to save the complaint action. So the next thing that we need to do is on our model, if you go back to our model, you'll notice that we have the complaint ID, that's okay, the notes, the action by ID, and the action on, and even the status. But we are missing the attachment. So this attachment, on our previous video, we actually did something on how to deal with attachments. So if you are new to this channel and you want to see how you do the attachments, so consider watching some of the series that you have done on this video, and you'll notice we have a series on how to do attachments. So I'm going to copy that although. So if you go to our add teacher, we have this section where we were dealing with photos. So I'm going to copy this, go back to our complaints. So complaints action, then just below our complaint statuses, I'm going to add a section for us to capture to upload the photo. So we have this input file on change. We need to load file uploads. So I'm going to copy the load file uploads, and you can see the file upload here. So let me just copy up to here. Then I tell you why. So here I'm going to paste it just below here. Then here I'm going to remove this. Then the only thing that I wanted is the file, and you can see load file uploads. So this load file uploads, if you just upload the file, it will assign our file to this variable that we have it here. So we'll have now our file here. If you just attach a file, we'll have our file here. But now to save that file, we have this capture file. So not even the capture file. So if the file is loaded, then when we click on create, you see, when you click on create, we need to assign the file name. So we need to assign the file name to our application. So we just go here, then we say, now our complaint object with attachment, we need to pass the string, and this string is the file name. So that string comes from the capture file method, and we had actually defined this. So this is our capture file method. Where is it? Here it is. So this is what is giving us the file. So I'm going just to duplicate that. Then if we have it down here, you can see the capture file method is actually taking, so we have something on the file name. Where is it? Let's also find it. Our file name is here. So we need to ensure we have our file name. So I'll also have it here. So you see now our capture file method will have the file name. It will give us the file name with a random file name with the extension. Then we have our config. So we need to import this. So if you come at the top of our application, we have this iConfiguration. So we need it under the complaint action as well. So I'm going to have it somewhere here. So I've injected that. So you can see now our path is config.getValue file uploads. So it's going to upload there, and if the file is not there, you should be able to create the directory and upload the file. Then our attachment now, this will actually return the file name. And you can see the capture file method will actually return the file name of that file that you just attached. So I think that is it. We can now do something. For us to add this, remember we need to go to our complaints list and we ensure the add complaint action is there. And whenever this is clicked, we also need to have our header as action. So if we just do action, then I can now launch the app. So if we launch the app, we should be able now to create the action. But remember, we need to create the statuses of our different complaint actions. So that is one thing that you need to do. So for those who are following this video and you like the video, comment down below as we start enhancing this application. And you feel you like what we do, you can actually claim the source code, and this will go a long way in actually ensuring we upload new videos every day. So if you have not subscribed to our channel, consider subscribing, like our video, and share our channel. So I'm going to log in here. So this is how our screen looks like. So if I just sign in, that is how the application looks like. So I'm going to complaints module, and you'll notice that I have now so I can change the color of this so that you see there are different actions. I can have these as a warning. So if we do that and update the application, then you should be able to have these color changes. So let's just wait and see. So there we go. So if we click on action, it should take us now to our add new complaint. And you can see we are able to have the complaint notes, the statuses, and you can see the statuses. It is pending, action, escalated, and closed. Where did we define this? These are being defined under system settings, then system codes. So if I open it in another tab, you'll notice that we have a complaints statuses. You see these complaint statuses, and we actually defined these in our previous video. So if you want to see how we did it, you can watch our video down below. We've actually added the description. So these statuses are actually what you see here. So when you are actioning a complaint, I can actually say pending, and I can attach now a photo. So if I click that, then I can save my complaint type. So if we go back to the database under complaint notes, we should be able to see that we have now new entries. There we go. But now we have an issue. Let's just confirm what is not going well. So if we come back to our application, so to address this issue, what we are going to do is we are missing something on our complaints action component. So here we are going to have our interactive mode. So we are going to say render mode. So we're going to have render mode. So you can say interactive server. So if we do that, then we should be able to have our attachment working. So let's just have our breakpoint here and see what will happen. So if we just attach a file, we should be able to see, so there is an error. So let me just see what's the issue. So this should be interactive. Let's just see, sorry. Interactive render mode is at render interactive server. So this is render at interactive server. So you just do that. So let's just launch our app. So if we do that, then we should be able to attach our file and upload the document. So let's just launch and see. So I'm going to sign into my app. So I'm going to do that. We sign in. Then under front office complaints, you can actually do action, then I can put in some text, status, and we can save in a file. So if we do that, and a breakpoint, you'll notice that now we have our file being assigned, and you can see this is our file. So this is our file, and we should now be able to save our complaint action. So if we proceed, then we should be able to save our complaint action. So this should return now for us the file name. You can see we have the file name, and if I just remove that breakpoint, then our details should be saved. So if we go back to the database now, we should be able to see the data. So we don't have the data again. So that means there is something we are still missing. So I'm going to do that, action, provide the details, and we can click, if we click on create and save. So let's just see our complaint. We have the status, complaint by, action on, attachment, then the complaint ID and the notes. So what we are missing, so let's just see. So if we just proceed here, we are actually having something. So we have the ID as 533. Yes. So that means we have something on our, let me just do this. Then go back to our complaints. So let's just go back to our add action implementation. Here, I'm going to have a breakpoint there. Then if we proceed, so let me try to save. So if we go again, so here we should see our entity. We have all the details, action status, all these ID. So if we proceed and save, something went wrong. So we were not able to save our details. So let's just check why this is not working. So I'm going to go to add. So let's just go to add, go to implementation, and see what we are missing. So if we check on our database, we actually need the complaint ID. I seen what, oh, so we have actually seen what is the issue. So when you go back to our complaint model, we actually added something on our model. I think I had just forgotten. So on our complaint action, so on our complaint notes, so we have a, if we go back here, you'll notice that we added a column called action status. So we need to update this. So to do that, we are going to run migrations. So I'm going to have NuGet package manager console. Then I'm going to have my migrations here. So I'll just do add migration. Then you can say complaint notes. So add the migration. Then our migration should now update our database with the new changes. So if everything goes well, then we should be able to update the database and now create our complaint notes. So you can see our migration has been generated and our migration file has been provided. You can see this is our migration file, and it is going only to add this column, action status ID, and on the complaints notes table. So to effect the changes, I'm going to do database, update database, press enter, then that column should be available on our table. So if you are following this video and you have not subscribed to our channel, consider subscribing, like our video, and comment down below. So as you can see, everything is okay. So you can launch now our application and try to create a new complaint action. So let's just launch. Going to system here, then I'm going to add this. So if we save, then we should be able to sign in and go to complaints, trying to do one of the actions. So provide some details, complaint status, and now the file. So if I just add the file and save, you can see on our breakpoint, we now have it. So do you have the complaint status? We don't have it here. So let's just proceed. Let's just check now on our database if everything is okay. So you can see we now have the complaint ID, the notes, the attachment, action by, and we have the status. So you can also add another one. I'm going to do this complaint. We have the photo, and you can save. So I'm going to remove this. So if we proceed, I'm also going to remove it. If we proceed, then we should be able to save our changes. But now on our table, we also have the new entries. So we've been able now to manipulate the actions of the complaint type. So in our next video, you're going to see how you can actually manipulate the statuses of this and now display these complaint notes per complaint type. So that is it for today's video. If you're watching this video and you like the video, we are now back with the Blazor series. And for those who wanted us to continue, we are now back with this project. See you in our next video. Bye.